it's a country music time machine, taking us back to where the grass is green, with twangs and tales from days gone by. Let's ride those old trails beneath the open sky, in our country music time machine, in our country music time machine.
Well, howdy there, everybody. Good evening to you, good afternoon to you, or if you're on the other side of the big pond, as I always say, good morning to you. This is Kevin, this is Country Music Time Machine, and this is the Front Porch Podcast. It's such an honor to have you here with me tonight. I do apologize for missing last week. I had the flu, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't hardly talk. So that was no fun, but we are here tonight. And as you can see in the background, this is a real background. It's not a green screen behind me. I'm not on my wonderful antebellum, politically incorrect front porch. I am in Belize, still working for the Uncle Sam just a little while longer. And down here, I figured I'm going to just go ahead and do the podcast right here from it's not the front porch, I guess the side porch. So, it's still a porch. I guess they call it a patio here. But anyway, it all works out. Howdy, everybody. If you are tuned in, you know the deal. You know the order of the day. You've got to chime in. It's time to take a roll call. Let me know who you are, where you're from, so I can give a shout out to you. Love to hear from you folks. If you chime in all the time, chime in again. If you've never chimed in before, chime in now. I'd love to hear from you, so get them on the comment screen. I'll pop them up here in just a second. A very important announcement. If you look here on the screen right here, you see, oops, I'm going to knock my microphone over. You see that little logo there. We've got a partner. That's right. If you're looking for good stuff for your front porch, why not go to the Home Depot? I think that's a great idea. I go there when I'm in the U.S., when I can. It's a lot of fun to go to Home Depot. I can't afford everything because I want to buy just about everything, but we're partnered with the Home Depot on the Front Porch Podcast, and going to be plugging one of their products that I use all the time. And I'm going to show it to you right now, actually, because the deal is, if you end up buying something, I think there's a link on the screen or something. I can't tell because I'm not looking at the main screen right now. But if you buy something from Home Depot, like this thing I'm getting ready to talk to you about, I get a tiny bit of money, and it helps out because it'll help pay the bills here at the Front Porch Podcast and the Country Music Time Machine. But as I was saying, I'm not in the U.S. right now. I'm in beautiful Belize. And I do have a way to look at the front porch back in Tennessee. So I'm going to do it right now. And it's all brought to you by the Home Depot, because the Home Depot sells a really cool device called the Blink Outdoor 4. It's sold at other places, but I use them a lot. I really do. I got them at my mom's house, my daughter's house, and I got them at the Country Music Time Machine headquarters back in Tennessee. So let's go to the front porch right now in Tennessee. I got a camera hooked up actually on the mailbox. Let's see what. As you can tell, I got a problem there. If anybody has any tips, maybe I can buy something at the Home Depot that can help me get rid of these deer, because they're there all the time. I've seen them in packs of 12. They're all does. For all you folks that don't know what a doe and a buck is, they're all females. So you can't kill them and grill them. Oh, geez, I know somebody's going to get upset about that one. But they are everywhere, and they poop everywhere. But that video was from the Blink Outdoor 4. If you want one like it, it's pretty cool. It's not really expensive. You don't have to pay a subscription to the device if you don't want to. I think their subscription plans are around $30 a year. It's pretty cool. So check it out next time you go around Home Depot, or you can follow that link there on the screen and check out the Blink Outdoor 4 camera. Let's go over to the comment section. Let's see if I've upset anybody yet. We got Jeff's Guitars in New England. We got William May over there in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, home of the Tar Heels. There's Jeff's Guitars. Maria Brown, always Maria Brown, watching from New Jersey. And that's right, Maria. I should have mentioned tonight we're going to be spotlighting the one, the only Loretta Lynn, an incredible woman. Some folks think she is the one and only queen of country music. No, it's not Beyonce. It's more likely Loretta Lynn. But thank you, Maria. Maria's always online and always online early. The Country Music Time Machine historian is on the line. He's probably going to be screaming at me in about 5 minutes because I'm going to be talking about history and about how somebody got really upset with me about history on the Country Music Time Machine. I'll show you that in just a minute. We got Michael Murphy. He's from Newark, Ohio, and he loves Loretta Lynn like I do. We got Rita Harris in Jersey. And, of course, old J-Cat in Portland. So we've got East Coast, West Coast representative. If you are out there and you want to chime in and take roll call, please chime in. I'd love to hear from you because we get folks from all over, from North America to the Gulf of Mexico / America, however I'm supposed to say that now, Central America, Europe. We get over there, New Zealand, Australia, folks tune in all the time. So we do appreciate that. All right, now it's going to, I need to take a drink of Coke and peanuts before I start talking about this because I may get upset. I'm not 100% sure, but I might. All right, I'm calmer now. Let me take J-Cat off the screen, J-Cat is not a sponsor. He's just a very incredible, good Country Music Time Machine crew member that tries to keep me straight all the time. All right, here's the deal. This week I released a video called The Most Shocking Moments in Country Music History. Got a lot of views on it, some interesting stuff. It was a long video. I couldn't say all the shocking moments. Of course, historian Joshua John gave me a bunch of them to use on there. But I really got in trouble when I got political. Getting political is no fun. Because someone's going to disagree with you. You're going to lose somebody. You're going to make somebody upset because even if you're not intentionally trying to make them upset, you might make them upset. On this video I did. I'm going to play the clip that pissed some folks off, but I'm going to show you a comment. So let's watch old Kevin put his foot in his mouth talking about country music history and the Dixie Chicks and Lady Antebellum. Yep, politics in country music can be shocking. We know of two groups that have changed their name and shocked some folks due to politics. The band formerly known as Dixie Chicks, who was on stage there with Beyonce in 2016. In June of 2020, they dropped the name Dixie from their name as they said that word had connotations of slavery in the United States. They are now known simply as the Chicks. Also in 2020, due to the racial craziness of the time, the band formerly known as Lady Antebellum changed their name to Lady A. They said they wanted to distance themselves from the associations with slavery and the antebellum South. Many folks consider the word Dixie or antebellum not to be racist. It is just two words that explain a region and an architectural style of the period. And even the style of some front porches out there. Yeah, I guess my front porch is racist. I guess if Lady Antebellum dropped the name, should I call it the A style front porch? I don't know. It gets confusing when politics get involved. But let me show you this. Let's bring up the news. And first, let me give a shout out to these folks, the crew members of the week, Restoration Serpentine, Joe McMillan, Glenn Lego, Telegraph Hill. Thank y'all so much for being so involved in the Country Music Time Machine. And here's the comment that really upset someone. I'm going to read it to you. If you want to talk with disdain about groups having some idea of history and current developments, like the Confederate flag being paraded through the halls of Congress for the first time on January 6th, then at least demonstrate some whiff of knowledge. The antebellum South era was a period in the history of the southern United States that extended from the conclusion of the War of 1812 to the start of the American Civil War in 1861. The era was marked by the prevalent practice of slavery. I highlighted that. We'll come back to that part. And the associated societal norms it cultivated. Antebellum is Latin, and it means literally before the war. It had absolutely nothing to do with architecture. Yeah, that's not true either. You are a dishonest broker. Well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm trying to broker here. I was just trying to explain that when two country groups change their name after watching the news because they get upset, they're liable to lose some country fans. So let's take a look at the word prevalent first. The dictionary reference, the meaning of prevalent is widespread in a particular area or at a particular time. So let's take a look. How many people in the South in that antebellum period that had antebellum-style houses had slaves? Pure slave owners, 5.67% of the people had slave. Now, if you add in family members, in-laws, and you stretch it a little bit, it goes to 30%. But even if you stretch it and you look at that number, 70% of the people in the South did not have slaves, and they may not necessarily even believed in slavery. But because of what happened during that period of history, so many Southern people and a lot of country music fans get labeled as racist just because we use the word Dixie or antebellum. Now, I just don't understand that because those are historical words of a period. Antebellum means, like the fella said, before the war, and that is ante. It means antes in Spanish and Portuguese, and I knew that, but I was making the reference to the Country Music Time Machine front porch, my house. And Dixie was the region as it became known in that period. But there, to me, was never any direct connection between Dixie and slavery. It was just where I was raised. It's where my family was raised. It's where many people, even in the Civil War days, went and fought for what they considered a country at the time. And most of those folks did not fight for slavery. They fought because they felt they were defending their home, their land, their way of life. And some of them, their way of life was slavery. And thankfully, we evolved enough to get not to be that stupid and love each other like we should now, which we have sometimes problems loving each other. But that's what I was bringing it around to. And what makes me upset is this. When Lady Antebellum and the Dixie Chicks came up with the names of their bands, I am pretty sure they did not in their head say, we're going to promote slavery by calling our band the Dixie Chicks and Lady Antebellum. I don't think they looked at it that way. They were just honoring in the South with a good, catchy name that folks would tune into and associate with their style of music, which was sort of country. But when the things went crazy in 2020, they were watching channels like Fox News, like CNN, and it got them all fired up, and they decided, we're going to erase this from our name. We're going to erase this part of history. We're going to let it go away. And what gets me upset about that is, number one, so many country fans paid for their tickets to go see those two groups in their earlier years. So many country fans bought their records. A lot of those country fans were from the South of the U.S., and then they just decide to change their name and erase their name and, in a sense, dishonor. I mean, not a dishonor in reflection of slavery, but just into the South. Because, my family for generations were in the South. We were dirt farmers. We didn't have slaves. We were not rich. We pecked out a living as best as we could, but we weren't bad people either. We weren't, selling human beings. A bad time in history, but I just don't appreciate it when country bands get the bait of their country music fans at the beginning and get those fans in, and then just based on what they see in the news, they change their name. And trust me, I really don't think the news coming out today, whether it's Fox News or CNN, is 100% news. It's a lot of gossip. It's a lot of opinion. That's all it is. So I just wanted to cover that. I will probably I've probably lost a few followers because of that mention, but it is history. I got to mention it, and I got to just feel how I feel about it from my side of things, about how I grew up and how I was raised, and you know, so it's incredible. I'm going to pop a comment up here. Jonas says, "Hi, Kevin. I'm Jonas, live in Alabama. What the heck? Hank Williams Jr. song, All in Alabama." Well, sounds good to me, brother. Got Joshua John. Even Alabama edited their early 1980s album and removed the rebel flag from their covers. That's interesting. I didn't think about that because I knew the earlier ones had that Confederate flag in there. So Joshua John, being the great historian he is, gets us straight about that. And I think the only, while I don't think any other groups that I know of have, I mean, they probably do, and Joshua probably can tell me that, with affiliation to Southern names, you know. But I don't think any other groups change their names, at least, you know. So anyway, enough talking about that. And the weird thing about it is, too, say one more thing. When they made that decision, when you make a decision that gets extremely political, you run the risk of losing your fans. Most country music fans, whether we like it or not, are conservative. I don't think that Jason Aldean lost a lot of fans for doing his stuff he did last year, or that fella from Virginia that I can't, Richmond, north of Richmond. His name is slipping my old brain now. But when you do come out politically, you're going to upset people. And a business decision, probably not a good one to make. Looking back at it historically, I try to handle it as best I can. But J-Cat was telling me the other day, he said, "Kevin, you're going into the jungle with this, you know." And I'm actually in the jungle right now. So that's enough of that. Another good comment of the week comes from Craig Tiffany. "But the bathroom needs of DJs across the country made it really, really big and badly needed hit." Of course, he was talking about the Marty Robbins hit El Paso, which is my favorite one to sing. I can't sing like Marty Robbins, but I love that song. But I had a short up there about Marty Robbins, the incredible Marty Robbins, and they chimed in with that. Now, another thing that does happen sometimes on this channel, and it happened as when I was a DJ as well. We sometimes get requests. We back in the day, we got requests for songs, and people didn't know the song titles, so they would give us words or explain the story. Back then, it was easier because usually it was a new song, and we have it in the top of our heads. But every once in a while, I get comments like this, and I think this one came from Facebook, because this is being broadcast on Facebook and YouTube right now. This one came from a Facebook viewer, and they say this: "I am trying to find the name of a song I remember from probably the early 80s, but not sure. Can't remember who sung it, but it stuck in my head because it was talking about how all the different foods were bad for you. Even the water has carcinogenics in it," if I can say that. "And one of the two things that was safe was sweet red wine. I'd appreciate it if you could help me figure out what this song was. Seems like I saw it on the Nashville Network." If it was in the early 80s, early mid-80s, you may have. My first impression of that was a Bellamy Brothers song, but I have no idea why, and I couldn't make the connection. Joshua John, and I put our heads together. We couldn't figure out. So if you have any idea what this person's talking about, let me know. If you know what song that is, I would love to respond to them with something. And here's another one. "Hey, Kevin," and this was from the YouTube page from Ron Watson. "Hey, Kevin, I'm looking for a song that I believe sung by Barbara Fairchild. It has a verse, something about Jesus at 25, and Jesus, what were you like at 25? Any help in finding it would be much appreciated. Cheers, and stay blessed." So if you guys know what that song is, I don't know it either. I don't know a lot of Barbara Fairchild songs. If you know what that song could be, let me know, and I'm going to reach back out to Ron Watson, and we're going to make his day, because when you get those songs stuck in your head, it gets crazy. All right. Now let's talk about old Randy Travis. Randy Travis releases the new song called "Horses in Heaven." Or did he? This is the continued controversy about AI because, as we know, unless he did a great recuperation, Randy can't do a whole lot of music anymore. So they're using AI to make him sound more like Randy Travis. J-Cat chimed in on that. He said, you know how I feel about AI in music? It sucks. Even if Randy is allegedly involved in the decision process, doesn't mean he is back. Let's say I had AI technologies back in the day when Bobby Fischer, the great chess player, and let's say he had a stroke and lost his memory, but they rigged up something that provides him, let me move my face off this camera, with the perfect chess counter move for every move he sees. Would this be fair to other players? Would this mean Bobby was back in being a world-class chess player? Even though the AI program was comprised of moves he had used prior to his stroke. You know, and my idea is this, folks, and this is coming from a fella who, my degree, even though my first career was in radio, my degree is in computer science. If you give record companies the ability to create music with AI, eventually they're going to understand, they probably already do, and it's a lot cheaper to do that. And who needs those humans to create that AI? There's one part of it. So you don't even need a human. Humans don't need to be involved. Or let's say you brought in a human, one that was a beautiful human and perfect for the camera, but they couldn't sing a lick. Well, AI and sometimes auto-tune could get mixed into there, and they can be the greatest country star of all time. We need authenticity. I do miss Randy Travis. But, you know, Randy Travis left us with some great music, loads of music, and we still should be listening to that other than some of the stuff on the radio today. So that's just my 2 cents in there about that, and I wanted to put J-Cat's comment up there about it as well. A couple of weeks ago, we had the Super Bowl. 22 years ago, was that the last time we had a country music artist in Super Bowl? Or is that the last time I remember it because Shania Twain, the beautiful Shania Twain, was on stage? Maybe it's the beautiful Shania Twain, but there was some other fellow that I didn't understand what he was saying on stage until he got to the last word of his rap. He said, "Turn off the TV." And I took his advice. I turned off the TV because it was really bad. I just wish I'd have turned it off about 10 minutes before that. It'd have been better. But Shania had a commercial on the Super Bowl. I don't know if you saw it. It's called Let's Go Tongue with Coffee Mate. Shania is a lot different than she used to be. Lainey Wilson was at the Super Bowl with her boyfriend. You can see her there. I mean, she didn't have the best seat in the world, but she was there. I'm sure she had a good time. And, of course, later announced she's engaged, former Pittsburgh Steeler quarterback. Way to go, Lainey. We hope you a bunch of success. And now, here's a question for you. Now, I might feature these sometimes. And let me take, I need to get this worked out where it doesn't, my ugly face doesn't cover up the news update for this week. Got to take another sip of this. Let me. It says here you guys can't hear me. Can you not hear me? Let me check a few things. We may be having some audio problems here. Please chime in if you can hear me. If you can hear me, say, yes, Kevin, I can hear you. I hear myself through my headphones, but I don't know if you guys can hear me because everything on this side says it's working fine. But I've got 3 of you saying it's not. I have no idea what happened there. Maybe a historian that was studying antebellum and Confederate history muted me. I have no idea. But sorry about that. I didn't know I was off. I could hear it in my headphones here, so I'm not sure why it went off. Who knows? Anyway, one more sip of Coke and Peanuts. And I'll try to remember, because this is a one-man show right now, I'll try to remember to keep the chat thing open here. And when I go off the air or my mic goes bad or something, you guys let me know. But I do have Jeremy Goodman from Lexington, Tennessee. I'm not sure where Lexington is. Where is Lexington, Tennessee? I'm not sure. I know where Lewisburg, Tennessee is, but I don't know if I know where Lexington, Tennessee. Jeremy, if you want to chime in about where Lexington, Tennessee is, please let me know. That would be cool. But there's a lot of good places in Tennessee. And I do apologize in advance. If you hear these freaky birds behind me, this is Belize, this is the jungle, and they get really loud. I could be photobombed by a howler monkey any second now. So if you hear those, please, I hope it's not too bad. Because in Tennessee, all I got to worry about on my front porch is those deer pooping in the yard. So that's my only worry there. All right, our spotlight tonight is on the incredible Loretta Lynn. You know, there's always a few people that get mentioned as who is the queen of country music. Some people say Patsy Cline. A lot of people say Dolly Parton. A lot of people say Reba McEntire. Sometimes Kitty Wells is brought into that conversation. And quite all the time, Loretta Lynn is mentioned. And that is for good reason. Loretta Webb was born April 14th, 1932 in Butcher Hollow, Kentucky. Or as she would say it, Butcher Holler, Kentucky. And whether you knew it or not, she's the distant cousin of another country girl. Now, I never met Loretta, but I spent time with Patty quite often, and she's the distant cousin of Patty Loveless. You know, Loretta grew up in a tough environment. She was dirt poor. And I want to play you a little video right now, and Loretta talks about the hard times she had to go through, especially the hard time of being a wife.
I probably think it would have been the hard times when I had the 4 kids growing up, you know, and I was growing up with them. That would probably be the highlight. That's what I would, you know, want the whole world to know, that it wasn't hard. When a girl gets married that young, she's the one that really it's harder on, because I didn't only take care of the 4 kids and have the 4 kids. I was having to work too, cleaning the house for a neighbor. And I was bitter the whole time too, you know, because I thought, well, you know, it shouldn't be like this. If you've got 4 kids, one right after the other, the man should take care of you better. And of course, at his age too, he was, you know, liked to run around quite a bit. And
well, Loretta was an incredible young woman. She was married at 15 years old on January 10th, 1948. She married 21-year-old Oliver Vanetta Lynn, who went by many names, Doolittle, Do, or Mooney. She was married to him all her life. He actually died before she did. And he wasn't the example of a great husband. And as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't necessarily an example of a great human being sometimes. But it was actually him, Mooney or Do, that convinced Loretta, you can sing. You need to sing in front of people. And here's Loretta telling that story.
I didn't get the idea it was his. He says, you
here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get you a job.
So you were
He
just
did.
home with all these kids,
Yeah.
and your husband had heard you sing, and he comes home one day, he's like, here's what we're going to do.
He got one of these little harmony guitars, which was like $17, I think. And I always wanted a wedding band. And it's broke right now, and it just about kills me. But I'm going to get it fixed. They tried to sell me a new one the other day when I took that in to get it fixed. And I said, I don't want your new one.
No, I just can't believe that your husband comes home and goes, okay, Loretta, you're going to go start singing.
He did. He said, now you learn to play that. So I learned to play that. And I learned to play.
Well, did you think that was a crazy idea, or were you
Well, yeah, I thought
excited about
was
it, or
crazy.
what?
Oh, I like to die. He pushed me on stage. I don't know how many times he pushed me out there. And I'd go on just scared to death, and then I'd leave the stage with a migraine headache.
So no matter how crazy that husband made Loretta Lynn what she was, the legend she became. If he would not have pushed her in that direction, maybe we would have never heard from Loretta Lynn. So it's an interesting story. She made her Grand Ole Opry debut on October 15th, 1960. And from there on, once we started hearing her, we were in love with her. And I've already mentioned Patsy Cline on this show already. Patsy Cline was her friend and mentor. And it was a good person to be looking up to, was Patsy Cline. Our first number one hit came in February 1967. I know you remember Don't Come Home A-Drinking with Lovin' on Your Mind. That's country music, folks. That's the way it should be today. That's great stuff. And even just hearing the title of that song just gets me worked up. It makes me feel good. And it's just pure, in some senses, honky-tonk barroom country. But we fast forward in the country music time machine to the 70s, 71 to 75, the wonderful Loretta Lynn had 5 consecutive number one hits with Conway Twitty. And I'm betting that Loretta Lynn is why Conway Twitty became a legend. Because once those two started singing together, it was incredible. Especially the song they sang that I include, the first song on the Crazy Country Song series, You're the Reason Our Kids Are Ugly. That's not my favorite song, but it's the one I think of all the time. 1975, Loretta gets named the Female Vocalist of the Year. And I'm going to play you the clip of that happening. In this clip, we're going to take the time machine back to 1975. You're going to see Roy Clark, one of the greatest guitarists of all time, and Radar O'Reilly. I don't remember his real name, but if you remember the show MASH, you remember Radar. Let's pick those two fellas up, giving this award to Loretta.
The nominees for the top female vocalist are Donna Fargo, Loretta Lynn, Anne Murray, Olivia Newton-John, and Dolly Parton. And the winner is...
And the winner is You Two Can Sell Shoes. Oh, that's my matches, excuse me. And the winner is... The winner is Miss Loretta Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to say thanks to everyone that had anything to do with me getting this. And tonight I won't be singing the field because they wouldn't let me. Thank you.
Oh, that's good stuff. Loretta was amazing. She's also a very funny woman, too. Let's talk about this great movie. And I'm going to bring up this comment from Michael Murphy, best country music movie of all time, Coal Miner's Daughter. And Michael, I think a lot of folks would agree with you on that one as it being the best country music movie of all time. It did win a bunch of awards back in the day. It won Oscars and Golden Globes on March 17th, 1980. I think that was the day it was released, I believe. And I have a cool clip for you now. And this clip, I call this clip The Two Lorettas. The person who played Loretta Lynn in that great movie was Sissy Spacek. And Sissy Spacek did one heck of a job pretending to be Loretta Lynn. And in this interview, she just pulls off the character perfectly. Let's take a listen.
I'm the hostess. That's right. You just go out there and tell Loretta she's the hostess and play it to the hill. That's right, and I told everybody just enjoy my spread. Just have fun, do anything they wanted. I fired a couple of people. Says pull Loretta's flowers up. Go out there in the garden. I had to run everybody out of my garden. She worked in her garden all last week, and I got the dadgumdest blister.
That's good. That's good stuff. I just love watching that clip. I saw that clip years ago and I always loved it. A good one. But, you know, while Mooney gave her the advice to be a country music superstar, Mooney caused her a lot of pain through the years. Loretta says he abused her, but she also said she hit right back. So she gave as much as I guess she can take, but in any marriage, that shouldn't be happening. We all know that. More trouble with Mooney. He was messing around on her like crazy and even once left her while she was giving birth. Crazy stuff. He was an alcoholic, which affected their marriage as well. So Mooney, while I guess it was the love of her life and the reason was she got into country music, it was also a painful part of her too. Let's go to another little interview, and I think this is on TNN or CMT. I'm not sure, but it's going back a ways. You're going to see in this part, you're going to see Faith Hill. I think Brenda Lee is in this too, and also Mooney is on this video.
Well, you know, I have to ask both of y'all something. See, you've been married to the same man for, the only one, a long time.
132 months, or years.
32 years?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, what kind of advice would you give entertainers, you know, young entertainers that aren't married, you know, they're trying to have both a career and a family? Because I definitely want that. I mean, and to have been married to the same man and the only man is pretty incredible. And especially this day and time, you know, it's really tough.
Well, as Loretta says, you've got to find somebody that either loves what you do as much as you do, or either will allow you to do it and help you to do it. Mm-hmm. So that's about the only thing really that you can say. And you know, you've got to find just a good person to start with, and somebody you can talk to, a good friend like you all started out to be, and they grew up together. That's the most important, is a great friend. Yeah,
best friend. You got to keep one thing. There's one word that takes care of it all: love.
That's right. Aww. And you know what, Mooney? Yes, you're right.
You know, what another amazing thing with about that video too was Faith Hill was there. She was single and she's talking, dreaming about finding her love, finding the love of her life and her friend. And I think a little while after that, she found Tim McGraw, and they're still going strong, making music, making movies together, and having a lot of fun. But of course, Mooney did die before Loretta did. Here's a little interview with Loretta talking about a bird and the death of Mooney.
He was really the reason that I made it, because in my own heart, as far as I was concerned, I didn't think I was that great of a singer. He thought I was.
Of course, Mooney was right, and Loretta is still singing today. She just recorded a gospel album, and a tour may be in the works. And while Mooney will forever be in her heart, Loretta knows he would want her to move on.
You can't look back, and you can't go back. So the best way to do is keep on plowing, and that's what I intend to do.
Good words from Loretta. Also, politics are a big part of Loretta's career. We all know that. She had some political songs out there that upset a few people. Stand By Your Man, 1969. That upset people then. I think it upset people in the early 90s too, when Bill Clinton became president and there were some marital affairs going on, and there was some interview where Hillary Clinton said, I don't stand by your man like the country song. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it shows you how big a song was when the President of the United States or the First Lady brings it up. She also had a song in 73 called Rated X and The Pill in 1975. So Loretta was not only a beautiful voice, a funny person, and a loving person, but she was not afraid to mix into politics with her music at times. She supported Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, the Bushes, and Donald Trump. So she was sort of, I guess, as she aged, maybe she changed a little bit, but she supported a lot of different political affiliations with presidents. And now we talk about her legacy. She was asked one time by Joan Rivers. I've already had Roseanne Barr here. I just will have Joan Rivers because it was the best clips I could find. And, of course, Joshua John helps me with a lot of this stuff, so I use a lot of his good stuff. Joan Rivers asked Loretta what she feels like, her legacy of being a star.
Not really. It's, to me, it's someone else. I walk on stage as someone else to try to please. When I walk on that stage, I give them everything I've got because they paid their way in. And it bothers me if I don't get to sign autographs. And if we have 2 shows, I don't get to.
Yeah, I have that same thing. I get
Really?
crazy, yes.
Yeah. And I feel if they buy anything, it should be autographed, you know. And there's very few people that feel this way, and I'm glad you do.
Now, I'll tell you what, folks, something very important of what she says right here. I had Dennis Manka from 104.1 The Ranch in Tennessee on a few weeks ago, and he was talking about Glenn Campbell and about when he met Glenn Campbell. He says, one of the biggest fears we have that work in the country music industry is meeting our heroes, because sometimes they can be pure asses. I probably will hardly ever mention those that I can say were some of the country music legends that were not very good people. I'll always talk about the good ones. But Loretta was one of the good ones. She was just a good, loving person who loved her fans, who loved her people. And you know, you can become a country music star by singing great country music. But if you love the people who put you where you are, that makes you an even bigger star. And if you're ever in and around Tennessee, you should go to Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. So if you're planning a vacation in Nashville, a lot of folks do that. Take a little jaunt off to Hurricane Mills. I think Hurricane Mills is about an hour away. I think it's northwest, west, I believe, on the way to Memphis, unless my brain is fried. She's got Loretta Lynn Ranch there. It's a great place to visit. It's a good day trip from Nashville. Make sure you check that out, especially if you're a Loretta Lynn fan. And boy, was she awarded for her good stuff. She was the ACM Artist of the Decade of the 1970s. The only first and only female so far to ever win that honor. Kudos to Loretta. She was also, of course, a member of the Country Music and Songwriters Hall of Fame. I'm going to check out the comments area now, see if we've got any good comments in there. We got William May, Walker Radar O'Reilly. Walter, yeah, that was a great show. Gary Burkhoff. That was his real name. See, that's why you guys are out there. You guys are smarter than I am. I knew it was something like that. But we got another comment here from Michael Murphy. Hee-haw, one of the greatest shows of all time. Don't forget the Dukes of Hazzard. I think Loretta may have been in the Dukes of Hazzard one time. I think. Well, according to William May, she was, and I'll trust what William May says there. And I'm actually a good friend with John Schneider, who's a good fella. So I'm going to have to ask him one day about Loretta Lynn. What else we have here? And this is Michael Murphy talking about Sissy Spacek. Sounded just like her. She did. She was almost copycat, you know. And, yeah, thanks for all those great comments. And another one from Joshua John. He's going to tease us something now, so probably something that we didn't know. Loretta Lynn was a regular on the Wilburn Brothers show from 63 to 71. Their show ended in 74. The Wilburn Brothers managed her for 10 years, and she gained her popularity due to this show. That is good info, Joshua, as always. Excuse me, got to wash down a peanut. Only problem with Coke and peanuts are the peanuts. They just get caught down there sometimes. She charted 77 singles on the Billboard Country charts, plenty of number ones, top tens, you name it. Loretta, the incredible Loretta, just did it. She just about did it all. And we need more people like Loretta out there. I hope that we'll have more people like Loretta, like maybe it's Ella Langley, and those type of folks. But boy, we do miss her. Loretta did pass away, and not that long ago either. October 4th, 2022, she was 90 years old. The amazing thing about it, Loretta left a message before she died. She left a message to her family and her fans. If you've never seen this message, I'm going to show it to you now. I think it was on CMT, but in her own words, and just thinking about it gets me choked up a little bit. Here is Loretta saying goodbye.
To my friends, thank you for giving me such a great life. I have never taken it or you for granted. Because of you, my kids didn't have to grow up poor the way I did. As a mother, I didn't have to go to bed heartbroken. What you gave to me allowed me to give them a better life. I hope you know what a gift that is. I have shared my story so many times, through my songs, through my books, through my movie. I have tried to give back to you as much as I could, even though I know I can't. I could never repay you for the life and the love that you have given to me. Thank you. I've traveled all over the world, but I've never got to see much. That is, except for you, my fans, my friends. I want you to know that I saw and I remember every one of you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you. Your friend, Loretta Lynn.
And Loretta, we love you too. An incredible woman, an incredible legend. Maybe she grew up poor, dirt poor, as she was saying. She died a legend. And we will miss her, and we will pray that others will follow in her footsteps. That's all I got for you tonight, folks. I want to thank the wonderful folks over at the Home Depot for being a partner with us on the Front Porch Podcast. If you need something for your front porch, I'm sure you can probably find it at the Home Depot. So go check those good folks out and tell them that the Country Music Time Machine sent you. And don't forget to check out that Blink Outdoor 4 camera. They've got it there. If you want a nice camera, high quality, doesn't rob all your money, you don't have to pay a yearly subscription. I mean, you can if you want to. It's cheap, but if you just want something put up in your house or outside of your house to watch the bad guys, I really do suggest Blink Outdoor 4, and you can get it at the Home Depot. So, folks, until next time, I hope y'all have a great evening, a great weekend. And, you know, sometimes politics do pop up in country music. Whether we agree or we don't agree, I tell you this, I love you anyway. Let's keep loving country music. Let's keep reliving the history of country music together, because that's what makes it so special. Until then, let's keep it country right here on the Country Music Time Machine.
Oh, it's a country music time machine, taking us back to where the grass is green, with twangs and tales from days gone by. Let's ride those old trails beneath the open sky, in our country music time machine, in our country music time machine.